ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामने गौरतुसे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So we welcome everyone for today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So 2-3 days back, we started a discussion regarding what is the cause of our disturbances, problems, challenges in our life. So there may be so many multiple causes, reasons because of which we face challenges, disturbances, or problems in life. But there is only one cause behind our demotivation or loss of enthusiasm or the disturbances of mind. There is only one cause. And what is that? The mind itself is the cause. Uh, these external reasons may be there, but it can only influence us only and only if our mind is influenced. Only when if our mind wants to get influenced. So that we discussed and we came to this conclusion. That's why in Bhagavatam there is one very nice story of Avantipur Brahman. So that was also his realization. So finally, it's a long story, so we'll not take the entire story. But some or other, it happened that Avantipur Brahman, he was a Brahman, but because of greed, excessive greed, then he started. He became a materialistic person. Instead of becoming devoted to the Supreme Lord, he became devoted to money, wealth, and enjoying sense gratification. And he was not even enjoying sense gratification. He was such a miser person that he was so greedy. He just accumulated the wealth by hook or crook, by all means, by cheating others, by if possible by honest means, if not possible by honest means, then by cheating public people. He acquired lot of wealth. But he was such a miser, he did not even spend a single paisa for his own self. And because of this, his family members, relatives, they all became very frustrated with him. He never used money for them, for himself also. So finally, all those people who got cheated by him, so they became together, and then together all of them they made some plans and how to again uh, take back all his wealth from this Brahmin. So finally, some because of some arrangement, they managed to recover all their wealth, and as much so much so that finally this Brahmin, his house was also sold out, and he became a beggar. He came out of his house. He had no house to live, no cloth to wear, and no food to eat. He was practically on the street begging like a beggar. That such a miserable condition he got. And all those people who were cheated by him, they started uh, making fun of him. They started making his life more miserable. So in this way, he was experiencing a great frustration, great misery in his life, uh, great problem, uh, misery. And then finally, because of some previous life devotional service, unknown devotional service. Internally, he got this conviction that although I am very much frustrated, I am very much in a miserable condition of life, but I can clearly see none of the people are actual cause of my disturbances. Not even stars, graha nakshatra are the cause of my disturbances. Not even the demigods, controllers who are controllers in our life. They control everything in our life. Not even they are the cause of my disturbances. Not even my own karma, my own previous karma. We always say no, that because of our previous karma we suffer. But he said, no, not even my previous karmas are cause of my disturbances. Then who is the cause of your disturbance? He said, maneva manushyanam. Manaha parama karanam. Manaha parama karanam. He says, manaha param karanam. That is explained in 11th canto, 23:42. Indvija uvacha. So we already discussed this, but I am giving you the reference so that you may be able to accept. Because that day when I was speaking these things, hardly any one of you were able to accept this fact that nobody else is the cause of our disturbances in life, but the our own rascal mind is actually the cause of our disturbances. That's why I am citing this reference for your benefit so that you may be able to accept. So this is from 11th canto, 23rd chapter, verse number 42. Dvija Uvacha. Dvij means Brahman. That Brahman says finally, after experiencing great miseries in his life, he speaks like this. With full realization, he speaks. And this katha is being narrated by Lord Krishna himself to Uddhav in Uddhav Gita. 11th canto is Uddhav Gita. Lord Krishna's transcendental knowledge given to Uddhav. So during this the knowledge, when Krishna was giving this transcendental knowledge, divine knowledge to Uddhava, in between he gives the this he narrates this story of Avantipur Brahman. So then Brahman says, नायं जनो में सुख दुख हेतु ना देवात्मा ग्रह कर्म काला मनः परम कारणमामनन्ति संसार चक्रम परिवर्तयेद्य. He says, the Brahmana said, these people are not the cause of my happiness and distress, neither are the demigods, my own body, the planets, my past work or time. He refuses all these things, which are supposed to be the influential factor in our lives for which determines our happiness and distress. What? Not these people or those surrounding people, our relatives, friends and circle and relative, all those people, they are not the cause of my happiness and distress. Then demigods? No, no, neither are the demigods. My own body, then maybe because your own body, maybe it's just like sometimes it happens, somebody becomes frustrated with too much disease and too much this bodily problem, then one starts thinking that what can I do? My body, by birth, I'm always this body is very frustrating. My body is like this, my body gives me so much pain, trouble, all these things they think like. So somebody may think other people are the cause of my suffering and happiness. Somebody may think, no, demigods are the controllers, so they are the cause of my happiness and distress. Somebody may think my body, my own body, material body, is the cause of my happiness and distress. And somebody may think the planets, ग्रह नक्षत्र, क्या करें आपका तो ग्रह नक्षत्र में दोष है, ये ग्रह दोष चल रहा है. If you go to some astrologer, he will calculate and will tell you आपका शनि दोष चल रहा है, शुक्र का दोष चल रहा है. शुक्र का दोष तो पता नहीं, शुक्र से तो शायद भौतिक सुख मिलता है, शुक्र का कोई प्रभाव रहता है किसी के ऊपर. तो शनि का दोष चल रहा है, राहु की दशा चल रही है, तो ये अलग अलग दशाएं चलती हैं. बट दिस ब्राह्मण, अवंतीपुर ब्राह्मण, he says no, the planets also are not the cause of my happiness and distress, neither my past work, karma, previous karma, are my the cause of my happiness and distress, or time. Kal, actually Kal. Ultimately, one has to accept Kala is everything. Everything happens because of time. Hmm. But he says, no, time is also not the cause of my happiness and distress. Then who is? Rather, it is the mind alone that causes happiness and distress and perpetuates the rotation of material life. This is mind. Manah param karanamamananti. Samsara chakram parivartayet. नायम जनो में सुख दुख हेतु न देवता आत्मा ग्रह कर्म काला मनः परम कारणम मीन्स द ओनली कॉज और द सुप्रीम कॉज परम कारणम रादर ओनली ओनली कॉज इज मनः माइंड इज कॉल्ड बाय स्टैंडर्ड अथॉरिटीज आमनंत इट इज सेड दोज हु आर रियलाइज्ड they accept this fact that manah param karanam. And not only it is the mind is just not only the mind is cause of one's happiness and suffering in this world, but samsara chakram parivarta yat. Because of this mind, yat means because of which, because of mind, samsara chakram, the cycle of material life. One has to take birth again and again and again and again. Parivartayet causes to rotate. Parivartayet means parivartayati means chakram parivartayati. One is rotating in the cycle of birth and death because of this mind. मनोगुणान्वयसृजते बलीयस् ततश्च कर्माणि विलक्षणानि शुक्लानि कृष्णान्यतलोहितानि तेभ्यः सवर्णास्त्रयो श्रुतयो भवन्ति. The powerful mind actuates the functions of the material modes from which evolve the different kinds of material activities in the modes of goodness, ignorance, and passion. From the activities in each of these modes, develop the corresponding statuses of life. Then he starts explaining how this mind is the param karanam, the only cause. Then somebody may tell, how can you deny the fact that because of our previous karma we suffer? So he says, it may be so, it may be so that because of karma we suffer, but actually karma is not the actual reason. Karma is just instrument. It is the mind only which actuates the functions of modes of material nature, because of which the living entity performs different kinds of material activities. And because of performing different kinds of material activities, these different corresponding statuses of life one attains. Then he goes on explaining about this mind in more detail. And then finally he concludes. Then what is the solution? We'll not go into much detail how mind actuates and how mind functions and makes one uh, fall in this material existence and suffer like anything. And then he explains how people tam durjayam satrumasahya vegam aruntudam tanna vichitta kechit kurvantya satvigraham atramartaye mitrani udasin ripun vimudha. Failing to conquer this irrepressible enemy, the mind, whose urges are intolerable and who torments the heart, many people are completely bewildered and create useless quarrel with others. Thus, they conclude that other people are either their friends, their enemies, or parties indifferent to them. So then he starts explaining about the potency of mind, how mind is so powerful. Mind is the controller of all the senses are under the control of mind. In the previous, uh, and the mind is so powerful. Tam durjayam satrum masahya vegam. Durjayam means very difficult to conquer. This mind is very powerful. Asahya vegam, and the vegam, vegam means urges of mind. The mind, whatever mind desires. So this vega, this is called vega. The desires which manifest in mind are vegam, and this is asahya, intolerable. Nobody can tolerate. Specifically, there are six urges, six vega. Six vegas are mentioned by Rupa Goswami. Vacho vegam, मनसा क्रोध वेगम जिह्वा वेगम उदरुपस्थ वेगम एतान् वेगान् विषहेत धीरा सर्वामपि मां पृथिवीं सशिष्यात् वाच वेगं मनस क्रोध वेगं जिह्वा वेगं उदर उपस्थ वेगं. These six vegas are there. So one who can tolerate these vegas, that person is known as dhira or sober person, and he is qualified to become Jagat Guru, a spiritual master of entire earth, and he can make disciple all over the world. So these are vegas, which is very difficult to control by ordinary person. So asahya vegam, that's why asahya vegam, intolerable urges of the mind. Nobody can conquer over this. Uh, and because of this one, Arun Tudam Tan Vichitta Ke, this torments the heart like anything. The burning sensation, it creates a burning sensation within the heart. Just like one of the vega of mind is lust. So when this lust, a person who is affected by this lusty desires, so it is intolerable vega, intolerable urge, and one cannot defeat it, and it is so very powerful that it burns the heart like anything. And that's why a person, even a person of knowledge, perfect knowledge also, he also becomes victimized by this vega, a force of lust, which is given by, produced by this mind, and then he commits all kinds of sinful activity. That's why it's not possible for an ordinary person, or any person, not just ordinary person, any person, including the great demigods also, including great powerful demigods. Demigods are known as controllers. They are controller, they control so many things in this universal management, universal affairs, but they can also not control the urges of mind. That is why Arun Tudam Tan Vijitta Kechet, Na Vijitta Kechet. Uh, some people who are not devoted to Krishna, they fail to conquer over it. Kurvantyasat Vigraham Atra Martair Mitrani Udasin Ripun Mudha. So they become bewildered and unnecessary quarrel with each other. Thus they conclude that some are their friends and enemies. In this way, this mind is very, very powerful. Deham mano matramimam grahitva ममाहमित्तन्धधियो मनुष्या ईश्वहमन्यवयम् इति भ्रमेण दुरन्तपारे तमसि भ्रमन्ति. Persons who identify with this body, which is simply the product of the material mind, are blinded in their intelligence, thinking in terms of I and mine. Because of their illusion of this is I, but that is someone else, they wander in the endless darkness. So how this mind captures a living entity, how mind controls, and how mind forces one to rotate in the cycle of birth and death. He says mind convinces one, the living entity, mind convinces a living entity that you are this body. Huh? And that's why as soon as there is some uh, difficulty in the matter of body, so the person becomes bewildered. His intelligence is lost. Andhadhiyo manushya maha mama aham mamata ahamta. When one thinks of himself as this material body and identifies with this material body and anything related with this material body, then he falls down in this dark well of ignorance. And Durantapare tamasi brahmanti. In this way, Durantapare means unsurpassable. Nobody can surpass it. In this way, he brahmanti. He just wanders in this material existence, endless darkness, in wanders in endless darkness. That is the effect. Janastu hetu sukha dukkha yaschet kimatmanaschatra hi bhavmayostad jivvam kvachit sandasti swadadbhis tadvedanayam katamaya kupyet. If you say that these people are cause of my happiness distress, then where is the place of the soul in such a conception? That means as soon as one identifies with the body, uh, only a person who thinks of himself this body, who identifies himself with this material body, only he can blame others. Only that person blame. That means if anybody blames anybody else in this world uh, for his happiness and distress, happiness and suffering, that means he is in Dehatma Buddhi. He is in illusion. He is in perfect illusion, moha. He is in perfect misconception that he is this body. That is the reason. Then he goes on explaining all these things. Uh, but finally, we'll come to the uh, solution part, what he says. Then because he is speaking all these things, this transcendental knowledge, great knowledge, how mind has captured every living entity, and mind is the only cause of all our suffering in this material world. The entanglement, we are entangled in the cycle of birth and death because of this mind only. And mind is very powerful. Then somebody may ask, if you are saying mind is so powerful, nobody can defeat, then what is the solution? That means we are just eternally fallen. Then that means there is no hope for us. No, he says, no, don't worry, the hope is there. What should I do if I am fallen? If I am fallen in the conditioning of mind, uh, then what is the solution to get out of the clutches of mind? What is the solution to conquer over the urges of mind? What is the solution to become victorious over mind? Then he says, final solution. Listen it very carefully. Huh? एतां स आस्थाय परात्मनिष्ठाम् अध्यासितां पूर्ववत् मैर्महर्षभिः अहं तरिष्यामि दुरन्तपारं तमो मुकुन्दं गृहीष्यैव एतां स आस्थाय परात्मनिष्ठाम् अध्यासितां पूर्वतमैर्महर्षभिः अहं तरिष्यामि दुरन्तपारं तमो मुकुन्दं गृहीष्यैव. So with full conviction and determination, now this Brahmin of Vantipur, who was experiencing such a great miserable situation of life, he developed some or other. He developed great courage and determination in front of unsurmountable or and undefeatable mind. And he states, although he knows that on my own, I have no power to defeat the force of mind. Mind is so powerful. First of all, mind makes everyone in complete illusion. In complete illusion, one cannot even identify himself with this mind. Everyone thinks that whatever the dictates of the mind are, those are actual my dictates, my desires. So in this way, first of all, everyone is bewildered, completely bewildered. One cannot even identify, one cannot even know that I'm different from mind. And whatever mind is forcing me or desiring me, so it is not good for me. I'm entangled. I should not listen to mind. But those who are fortunate who come in the association of devotees, and then by their grace and by understanding the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, they come to this understanding that actually I'm different from this mind, and mind is keeping me away from real knowledge. Then they start discriminating between mind and their self. Then, but still at that time, mind is very powerful. It's not very easy to come out of the clutches of mind. But a devotee who is perfectly situated in transcendental knowledge, he knows, although I am completely incapable of fighting with the mind, although I am nowhere even to stand in front of the mind to fight with him, it's just like a person like me who is so thin and lean, very weak, physically very weak. If I am told that you go and fight with a WW wrestler, I don't know who is famous WW wrestler right now. uh, but suppose if a WWE wrestler comes and I'm told, oh, you go, no, you go and fight with him. So what is the hope? I cannot even look at him. I cannot even come inside the ring, even just to shake hand with him. That is our condition in front of mind. Mind is so powerful. But the devotee who is situated in perfect knowledge, he very well understands that I am incapable, I am powerless, I am helpless in front of mind. But Krishna, my Lord, the Supreme Lord, Krishna is the most powerful. For him to defeat mind is not even a task of left hand. He can do anything. He can just kick out this rascal mind. Krishna is so powerful. So keeping full faith in the potency, the supremacy of the Supreme Lord, the devotee takes complete shelter of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. uh, and he has full conviction and faith that the Supreme Lord Krishna has guaranteed. He has promised in the Bhagavad Gita, anyone who will take shelter of my lotus feet, I will always protect him. So why will Krishna not protect me from the clutches of this mind? So Krishna is definitely ready. And Krishna said, Shuhidam Sarva Bhutanam. I am the ever well-wishing friend of each and every living entity. So Krishna has guaranteed. Repeatedly, Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita, Kaunteya pratijanihi na me bhakta pranashyati. My dear Kunti Putra, Arjuna, declare it to all everyone that my devotee will never perish. Krishna has promised this, and Krishna is Supreme Lord. He is infallible. He is Achyuta. So he cannot fall down from his words, his promise. He can never, and he has never given up his promise. He has always protected any living entity who has taken shelter of his lotus feet. So, with this full conviction and determination, and then that devotee who is firmly situated in this transcendental knowledge, he takes complete shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. This is the complete hope. This is the perfect solution. That is why in this verse, this Avantipur Brahman, he says, Etam sa asthaya paratmanishtham. Etam sa asthaya. Astha, complete astha, becoming completely fixed in Paratmanishta means devotion to the Supreme Lord, Supreme Person, Krishna. Adhyasitam Purvatamayar Maharshabhir. Adhyasitam Purvatamayar. Purvatamayar means in the Purva, in the previous Maharshabhi, many great acharyas and devotees, they have worshipped the same Supreme Lord Krishna, and they have achieved the perfection of crossing over the material existence. They have achieved the perfection of completely defeating the mind. So similarly, aham tarishyami duranta param tamo mukundang nishevayaiva. Similarly, aham tarishyami, I will also cross over. Tarishyami. Duranta param, although this material existence is duranta param, although to defeat mind is duranta param, insurmountable. Hmm. Although this tamo means the ocean of nescience, darkness. This is endless darkness of ignorance. Very difficult to cross over, but still, I will cross over. How you will cross over? What will you do? Mukunda Angri Nisheva Yaiva. I will take shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda. By worshipping the lotus feet of Mukunda, Evam is certainly I will cross over. That is the firm conviction of a devotee. So this is the only qualification one requires to have firm and complete and perfect faith uh, in the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. That simply by remembering his lotus feet, simply by taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, I can I can cross over. I can defeat all kinds of uh, mind's activities, mind's power. It's possible. So he says, I shall cross over the insurmountable ocean of nescience by being firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. This was approved by the previous acharyas who were fixed in firm devotion to the Lord, Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that with this determination, she takes complete shelter of Krishna. And finally, Lord Krishna is continuing, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Actually, Sri Bhagavan, Krishna himself was speaking this katha, that how that Avantipur Brahmin who got entangled so much in the activities of mind, but when he took complete shelter of my lotus feet, thus becoming detached upon the loss of his property, this sage gave up his moroseness. He left home, taking sannyas, and began to travel about earth. Even when insulted by foolish rascals, he remained unanswered, unswerved from his duty and chanted this song. This is Bhikshu Geet. Bhikshu Geet. This song is known as Bhikshu Geet. Then Krishna speaks further. that Maya Aveshita Yukta Etavan Yoga Sangraha. My dear Uddhav, fixing your intelligence on me, you should thus completely control the mind. This is the essence of science of yoga. Just see. What else we can speak? What else? There is no requirement of any other proof. Lord Krishna himself is speaking. तस्मात् सर्वात्मना ताता निग्रहान् मनोधिया मय्या वेशितया युक्ता एतावान् योग संग्रह एतावान् योग संग्रह. This is the essence of the science of yoga. This is complete perfection. I am telling you the essence, my dear Uddhava. What you do? Fix your intelligence on me completely, and thus you should completely control the mind. In this way, you can completely control the mind. In this way, so nicely, Krishna is narrating the same thing. Actually, that is the same thing which is he explained in the Bhagavad Gita. He's explaining in this Uddhava Gita to Uddhava. So I hope I have answered this question, how we can overcome the disturbances of mind. So the only practical solution. I know uh, all of you may not be able to accept, but this is the fact. The only practical solution which we have to overcome all the challenges of life, whether mental, physical, emotional, intellectual, or spiritual, all the challenges, all the problems, there is only one practical and most practical solution is to take firm shelter of Krishna's lotus feet with complete faith and devotion and patience. Uh, and this firm shelter of Krishna's lotus feet is easily uh, taken in the form of chanting of his holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this is the practical solution. Uh, there's no other practical solution. The one who takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet by chanting his holy name, he is sure to become immune from the problems of his life, and he is sure to become liberated from the conditioning of his mind. Mind, although very, very powerful, nobody can defeat the dictates of the mind. But a devotee, a person who has taken complete shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, mind becomes a very insignificant enemy for him. Mind cannot do for such a person. That is the beauty of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. So I hope I narrated something. And on the other way, we can also see if somebody cannot accept this most practical solution, then we can think of some other solution. There is no other solution. You cannot defeat the raging mind. See, if you may have some solution for the time being, for temporary period of time. Whatever solution we'll get from our own intelligence and from anyone else in this world, those solutions will be temporary, and those solutions will be limited to time, place, and circumstances, and will not be applicable universally to each and every one of us. Because everyone's conditioning of mind is different completely. But mind has unlimited ways. Please try to understand. Mind has unlimited ways to defeat us. Mind has unlimited ways to entangle us in this material world. Everyone's conditioning of mind is different. Huh? One may be defeated by mind by some anartha. There are different kinds of anarthas. Uh, one may not be get defeated by a particular kind of anartha, but he may get defeated by another kind of anartha created by mind. So in this way, the solution which I will give based on my own experience, my own means material experience, intelligence, that okay, I also used to become very angry. So I applied this technique and therapy, and it helped me. I overcome my anger, but it may not be applicable universally. It will not be applicable to you because the cause of your anger may be your anger may be different. Because mind has unlimited ways to make you angry upon something particular, some particular thing. Similarly, the cause of lust, anger, greed, everything, all the anarthas. The mind has millions and trillions of ways and means to entangle us in the activities of these anarthas and defeat us. But a particular individual person's solution will not act completely, will not be beneficial for us. What is the reason? The main reason is because nobody knows the functioning of mind. Nobody knows what is happening in my mind. Suppose if I go and take guidance from somebody of this material world, he may be very experienced, may be very expert and intelligent, but he cannot clearly understand the functioning of my own mind, my mind, and I cannot specifically explain to him what kind of challenges I'm facing with this mind. It is not possible. First of all, I cannot explain completely with the words what problem I am facing with this rascal mind, and what to speak of explaining my problems. It is not possible even to understand. I cannot, even myself, I cannot fully understand why my mind becomes disturbed in certain situation. It's not possible. You can try. If you don't believe, you try. You think of a situation when your mind became fully disturbed, and you try to find out what actually happened in that situation because of which your mind became disturbed. You will not come to the perfect conclusion. You will not understand why my mind became so disturbed, and why my mind becomes disturbed now. uh, So if you yourself cannot understand why your mind becomes disturbed in certain situation, then how can you explain these disturbances to others? Huh? And even after explaining some part of uh, your conclusion, and how is it possible for that person to to be able to fully understand that disturbances? And even if he is able to understand some part of the discussion, some part of your explanation, why you become disturbed with the mind, so how is it possible that he will be able to explain the solution to you in a perfect manner? And even if he explains some part of the solution, how is it possible for you to accept that solution and apply it in your life? There's so much permutation combination. लेट मी एक्सप्लेन इट इन अ क्लियर लैंग्वेज। हिंदी में मैं आपको अच्छे से समझाता हूँ ग्राफिक एग्जांपल दे करके, तो आप समझ पाएंगे। अभी तो शायद कुछ कुछ ऊपर से उड़ गया होगा कि ये जो मन का डिस्टरबेंसेस है, ध्यान से सुनिएगा। मन का जो समस्या है, सो ये सारी समस्या, अभी तक इतना तो कन्विंस हो गया होंगे ना शायद, कि हमारे जीवन की जो समस्या आती है उसका कारण कौन है? मन है। ये मनम मना एवं परम कारणम। आप में से कितने लोग अभी कन्विंस हैं कि मनः परम कारणम, मन ही परम कारण है हमारे जीवन के समस्याओं का? कितने लोग इसको एक्सेप्ट करते हैं? देखो अभी सब लोग एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं कर रहे। अभी कंक्लूजन में तो आ गए हम लोग कि मनम परम कारणम, मन ही परम कारण है। मैं श्लोक भी कोट करके आपको बता दिया भागवत से, भागवत तो गलत नहीं हो सकता है। तो अब मन ही कारण है, तो मन को अब समझिए। फिर बैठ के पहले आपको अगर शत्रु को डिफीट करना है तो उसको समझना पड़ेगा ना कि कब कब डिस्टर्ब होता है, कैसे डिस्टर्ब करते हैं, इतनी शक्ति कहाँ है, कौन सी शक्ति है। तो आप खुद भी नहीं समझ सकते हैं पहली बात तो, कितना भी आप एक्सपर्ट हो जाएं। ऐसे बहुत सारे ऐसे ऐसे सिचुएशन आएंगे कि आपको खुद आश्चर्य होगा, यार ये छोटा सा सिचुएशन है, इसमें मेरा मन इतना छोटी सी बात को लेकर के इतना डिस्टर्ब क्यों हो रहा है? हाँ, आप लोग हाथ नीचे करिए जो लोग ऊपर के। अब मुझे, अब मैं क्वेश्चन पूछता हूँ, फिर आप आंसर बताइए। जितेश को हाथ नीचे करिए, जानवी माता जी। हाँ बताइए, आपने कभी आप में से कितने लोगों ने ये जीवन में कभी एक्सपीरियंस किया है कि जीवन में कोई डिस्टरबेंसेस आया, मन बहुत डिस्टर्ब हो गया, और आपको ऐसा फील हुआ हो, अरे ये तो इतनी छोटी सी बात है, इतना छोटी सी बात में मन इतना डिस्टर्ब क्यों हो रहा है? कितने लोगों ने ऐसा फील किया है? तो इससे ये प्रूफ हो गया ना कि इसका मतलब ये है, इससे ये प्रूफ होता है कि आपको खुद को नहीं पता चलता है कि मन क्यों डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है। वाई माई माइंड इज गेटिंग डिस्टर्ब, ये पता नहीं चला, यानी आप अपने मन को खुद नहीं समझ पा रहे हैं। तो आप मेरे को ये बताइए कि अगर आप खुद अपने मन को नहीं समझ पा रहे हैं, तो आप अगर कुछ प्रैक्टिकल सोल्यूशन लेने के लिए किसी भी व्यक्ति के पास जाते हैं, XYZ, या खुद से अपनी बुद्धि का इस्तेमाल करके अगर कुछ प्रैक्टिकल सोल्यूशन बनाने का प्रयास करते हैं, तो उस दूसरे व्यक्ति को आप कितना समझा पाएंगे कि आपका मन क्यों डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है? पहली बात तो आप खुद पूरी तरह नहीं समझ पाए। मान लीजिए आपने 50% समझा, हालांकि 50% भी नहीं समझते हैं, हार्डली 1-2% भी नहीं समझते हैं, लेकिन चलो मान लेते 50% समझा कि मेरा मन कब कब कितना डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है, कितना डिस्टर्ब, 50% समझ गए। उस 50% में आप सब अपने शब्दों से समझा भी नहीं पाएंगे सामने वाले को, उसका 25% समझा पाएंगे। और वो व्यक्ति जो सुन रहा है आपके शब्दों से सुन करके फिर उसको कंtemplate करेगा, तो उसको किसका उसका 12.5%, 12% वो समझेगा। और फिर वो जितना समझेगा उसका कुछ सोल्यूशन पैदा करेगा, 6% सोल्यूशन देगा। और 6% बोलेगा, तो उसमें से 6% में से 50%, 3% यानी आप समझ पाएंगे। और 30% में से आप जब अप्लाई करने जाएंगे तो 1.5% अप्लाई कर पाएंगे। और इस 1.5% में से अप्लाई करने के बाद जो आपको एक्चुअल रिजल्ट मिलेगा वो 0.75% का मिलेगा। तो खत्म हो गया ना, गेम ओवर हो गया। तो इसलिए कभी इस भ्रम में नहीं रहना चाहिए कि हम अपने जीवन की समस्याओं और डिस्टरबेंसेस को कुछ कुछ सो कॉल्ड प्रैक्टिकल सोल्यूशन से हम अपने आप को, डिस्टरबेंसेस को खत्म कर पाएंगे। इम्पॉसिबल। ओनली, आप ध्यान से सुनिए। असली चीज क्या है बताता हूँ। हाँ, केवल और केवल कृष्ण हैं जो हर किसी के मन के वास्तविक स्थिति को जानते हैं, बिकॉज कृष्णा इज लिविंग वेरी वेरी क्लोज टू आवर हार्ट। हमारे हृदय में परमात्मा के रूप में भगवान कृष्ण उपस्थित हैं। हमसे पहले भगवान कृष्ण को पता चल जाता है कि इसका मन में क्या इच्छा उत्पन्न होने वाली है। हाँ, अभी मान लीजिए आपको कुछ इच्छा आज रात को विकसित होगी, या कल आपको कुछ इच्छा उत्पन्न होगी आपके मन में। भगवान को सबसे पहले पता चलता है कि इसको ये इच्छा उत्पन्न होने वाली है, फिर उस जीवात्मा को पता चलता है, फिर वो प्रयास करता है उस इच्छा को पूर्ति करने के लिए। भगवान इतने एडवांस है। ठीक है। और दूसरी बात, ऐसी बहुत सारी हमारी इच्छाएं होती हैं जो हम भूल जाते हैं, भगवान को याद रहती है, भगवान हमको अपॉर्चुनिटी देते हैं। तो ओनली एंड ओनली कृष्णा, ही परफेक्टली नोज द माइंड सेट, कंडीशनिंग ऑफ माइंड ऑफ ईच एंड एवरी लिविंग एंटिटी। केवल वही जानते हैं, 100% तरीके से जानते हैं। भगवान के लिए कोई 50%, 80% नहीं, 100% ही नोज, परफेक्टली ही नोज। हमारे हृदय की बात को जानते हैं। ठीक है। इसीलिए भगवान जब सोल्यूशन देंगे, कुछ जो कार्य करेंगे वो परफेक्ट तरीके से कर सकते हैं। इसलिए अगर किसी व्यक्ति को अप्रोच करना ही है, किसी से कुछ प्रैक्टिकल सोल्यूशन लेना ही है, तो द ओनली प्रैक्टिकल सोल्यूशन इज टू अप्रोच अ पर्सनैलिटी हु परफेक्टली नोज द फंक्शनिंग ऑफ माइंड, एंड दैट इज द सुप्रीम लॉर्ड कृष्णा। इसलिए जब भी आपका मन डिस्टर्ब हो ना, तो ये जो सोल्यूशन है, सिट डाउन एंड चैंट हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र विथ फुल फर्म फेथ एंड कन्विक्शन, ये सबसे प्रैक्टिकल सोल्यूशन है। हाँ? इसलिए कभी ये नहीं सोचने का। कई कई बार कुछ यूथ स्टूडेंट या भक्त लोग होते हैं, बोलते हैं मन बहुत डिस्टर्ब है, क्या करें? उनको बताया जाए, प्रभु आप अभी मन आपका डिस्टर्ब है ना, अभी आप सब कुछ छोड़ दो, बस एक कोने में बैठ जाओ और निरंतर हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे जप करो। तो उनको लगता है प्रभु जी ये तो ठीक है, ये तो मैं करता हूँ, मैं करूंगा। नहीं, आप नहीं करते हैं। आप हरे कृष्ण माला लेके तो जपते हैं, 16 माला काउंट करते हैं, चैंटिंग नहीं करते। दैट इज नॉट काउंट चैंटिंग, दैट इज नॉट कॉल्ड चैंटिंग, दैट इज काउंटिंग। यू काउंट bead but you don't chant. Now you sit down and chant. Chanting means that you take full shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, that my dear Lord, there is no other way, there is no other, there is nobody else other than योर डिवाइन सेल्फ। आपके अलावा और कोई व्यक्ति नहीं है जो मेरे को शेल्टर दे सकता है, इसलिए मैं आपका आश्रय ले रहा हूँ। अब आपको जैसा मेरे को प्रोटेक्शन देना है आप दीजिए। इस भाव में, शरणागति के भाव में जब हम नाम पुकारते हैं उसको चैंटिंग बोलते हैं, अदरवाइज इट्स जस्ट अ काउंटिंग। इसलिए प्रैक्टिकल सोल्यूशन ये है क्या? यू चैंट हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र। यू आप बैठ के अच्छे से ध्यान पूर्वक भगवान के नाम का जप करिए। उसके बाद फिर आप मिलिए, उसके बाद बताइए आपको और कुछ प्रैक्टिकल सोल्यूशन चाहिए। और कोई प्रैक्टिकल सोल्यूशन की जरूरत भी नहीं पड़ेगी फिर। हाँ, सो दैट इज गारंटीड परफेक्ट। हाँ, परफेक्ट सोल्यूशन है। विश्वास है, अच्छी बात है। विश्वास नहीं है तो एटलीस्ट ट्राई करके देख लीजिए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगा। कोई चार्ज तो लग नहीं रहा ना। देखिए, इतना हमने अभी घंटों भर आपको काउंसलिंग किया, कोई पैसा तो नहीं लिया ना। आप फ्री फोकट का ज्ञान है, ले लीजिए। एक बार अप्लाई करके देखिए, शायद काम कर जाए। और शायद नहीं, 100% काम करेगा। वेन एवर यू फील डिस्टर्ब्ड, हाँ, बिकॉज ऑफ माइंड, हाँ, यू चैंट हरे कृष्णा। एंड फॉर्चुनेटली हमारा बड़ा सौभाग्य है दैट वी ऑलवेज फील डिस्टर्ब दैट इज, अगर इफ यू कैन टेक शेल्टर ऑफ कृष्णा's होली नेम whenever you feel disturbed, the time will come when you will like to get disturbed. When these disturbances will become your friends, and instead of hating the disturbances, instead of disliking the disturbances, you will like to be disturbed, and you will pray that let all these disturbances remain within the core of my heart eternally, so that by the force of these disturbances, I may be able to remember my beloved Lord Krishna all the time. So these disturbances will give you impetus to remember Krishna's lotus feet all the time, so that these disturbances are actually welcome. These are not harmful. These are harmful only when a person who is not convinced of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, and only when a person forgets and tries other means and method ways to get relief from these disturbances. But for a devotee, these disturbances give give the devotee the opportunity to take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet more firmly. Uh, he becomes more firmed in the devotion to Krishna. And that is why these disturbances are welcomed by the devotees. Rather, instead of becoming these disturbances, instead of becoming problems or disturbances, rather these disturbances actually becomes stepping a step towards the lotus feet of Krishna. So this you will start liking the disturbances. If somebody insults you, right now our condition is how can he insult me? It's what does he consider me? हाँ, मेरे को क्या सोचता है, मैं कौन हूँ, ये हूँ, ये वो, बहुत मन में बहुत सारी चीजें आती है, उसने मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों बोला, ऐसा क्यों कहा। हाँ, जब आप कृष्ण के नाम का जप करना, आपको इफ यू बिकम कन्विंस्ड ऑफ टेकिंग शेल्टर ऑफ कृष्ण लोटस फीट, यू विल लाइक वाओ यार, आज उसने ऐसा बोला मेरे बारे में, इतना इंसल्ट किया, मेरा मन डिस्टर्ब है। कृष्णा, ओनली यू आर माई होप, माई लॉर्ड, nobody else is mine. Again you have convinced me. Thank you very much my dear lord. आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने मुझे कन्विक्शन फिर से याद दिला दिया कि केवल आप ही मेरे एकमात्र हो, बाकी और कोई मेरा नहीं है। तो उस समय वो भक्त जो है हंसता है, स्माइल करता है अंदर ही अंदर कि वाह, अच्छा रियलाइजेशन हुआ, आज इस व्यक्ति ने भी मुझे डांट दिया, इस व्यक्ति ने भी मुझे बुरा गलत समझ लिया। हाँ, इसका मतलब केवल कृष्ण ही है जो मेरे एकमात्र आश्रय है, शुभ चिंतक है। सो इन दिस वे वी कैन ओवरकम ऑल द डिस्टर्बेंसेस। ओके, सो विल स्टॉप हियर। बहुत ज़्यादा समय हो गया, थैंक यू वेरी मच। किसी भक्त का कोई प्रश्न है, पूछ सकते हैं। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु। आ,
हरे कृष्ण।
मेरा सिंपल सा था हमेशा से कि हमें हमारी प्रॉब्लम्स खुद ही झेलनी पड़ती है, तो दूसरों को कुछ बताकर फायदा नहीं है। तो लेकिन मैंने आपको कुछ हिंट किया जिसकी वजह से आपने इतना हेल्प किया ये मेरी, तो मैं बहुत ही ग्रेटफुल हूँ। थैंक यू सो मच।
ओके, हरे कृष्णा। सो एक्चुअली में ये जो समस्या है, ये हर किसी के साथ है और ये कॉमन प्रॉब्लम है। आई ऑल्सो फेस्ड दिस काइंड ऑफ डिस्टर्बेंसेस, बट एज सुन एज आई टुक शेल्टर ऑफ कृष्णा's होली नेम फर्मली, आई गॉट द बेनिफिट। इसलिए ऑलरेडी वो एक्सपीरियंस है, रियलाइजेशन है, और कई हर किसी को समस्या है, इसलिए आपको ज़्यादा कुछ बताने का जरूरत नहीं है कि क्या डिस्टर्बेंसेस हम फील करते हैं। आपने बस हिंट किया, इसलिए प्रॉब्लम तो कॉमन ही है, तो इसलिए हो जाता है। पता चल जाता है, और सब कुछ ऑलरेडी सब कुछ शास्त्रों में दिया हुआ है। देयर इज नथिंग बियॉन्ड द स्कोप ऑफ स्क्रिप्चर्स। सारी प्रॉब्लम्स क्या क्या हो सकती हैं वो भी स्क्रिप्चर्स में दिया है, और इसका क्या बेस्ट सोल्यूशन हो सकता है वो भी स्क्रिप्चर्स में दिया है। वी जस्ट हैव टू प्रॉपरली अंडरस्टैंड इट अंडर द गाइडेंस ऑफ अ डिवोटी। ओके, हरे कृष्णा। और किसी भक्त का कोई प्रश्न है, किसी स्टूडेंट को कुछ पूछना है?
है कि माया देवी कुछ लोगों को चैस्टाइज नहीं कर रही है, उसका क्या कारण?
हाँ, चर्चा करने का जरूरत क्या है, वो माया देवी के गोद में बढ़िया घोड़े बेच के सो रहे हैं, तो माया क्यों उनको चेस्टाइज करेगी। वो तो ऑलरेडी गोद में सोया हुआ है ना, पूरी तरह से माया में। जो
हम्म,
माया से बाहर निकलने का कोशिश करते हैं भक्त लोग होते हैं, उनको
हम्म,
माया पकड़ती है, दबोचती है। अरे रोक, किधर भाग रहा है, तो इतने जन्मों से मेरे गोद में सो रहा था, अभी क्या हो गया अचानक से। हरे कृष्ण वालों को सुन करके तेरी बुद्धि ऐसे भ्रष्ट क्यों हो रही है, तू मेरे को छोड़ के क्यों जा रहा है। तो माया एक्टिव हो जाती है, और भक्तों को फिर जो ऐसे निकलने का कोशिश करते हैं उनको ज्यादा माया में फंसाते हैं।
बट प्रभु जी,
हाँ,
हम लोग कृष्णा का आश्रय ले रहे हैं तब।
कृष्ण का आश्रय ले रहे हैं क्या? क्वेश्चन मार्क
हाँ।
है।
ओके।
अच्छा,
ऐसा
विचार करिए
जब
पहले फिर
आश्रय
बताइएगा।
मिल जाए, प्राप्त हो जाए, तब अलग बात है।
वो तो अलग स्टेज है, उसमें तो माया तो दंडवत प्रणाम करेगी आपको आकर के उस वक्त तो। लेकिन अभी हम ले भी नहीं रहे हैं आश्रय में, परफेक्ट तरीके से अगर देखा जाए तो। वी हैव, हम, जैसे मैं बोला ना, वी काउंट, वी डोंट चैंट, वी आर काउंटिंग। अभी हम काउंटिंग भक्त हैं, चैंटिंग भक्त नहीं है। You are chanting when you are actually taking shelter of Krishna's holy name, which is each and every word you listen with helpless attitude. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That there is no other shelter, my dear Lord. You kindly always protect me. That is actual chanting. But when you are chanting Hare Krishna, और साथ में ये भी सोच रहे हैं कि डॉक्टर मुझे बचाएगा, ये बचाएगा, वो करेगा, that is not chanting. That is counting. Or with the desire to get some material benefit, that is not chanting. But
तो माया
anyway,
देवी एग्जैक्टली
वो भी हेल्प
चास्टाइज कब
करते हैं।
करते हैं प्रभु जी?
या
माया देवी एग्जैक्टली चास्टाइज कब करते हैं? क्योंकि
हमको
वैसे
पक्का
तो ऐसा
बनाने
कुछ
के
नहीं
लिए,
है।
हमको पक्का बनाने के लिए, वो उनका सेवा है।
ये तो तब से
ओके,
हो रहा है, जब से मैं मतलब पूरी तरह से
तब तक
भगवत
इसका कोई
गीता पढ़ना
हिसाब
स्टार्ट
किताब
ही
नहीं
नहीं
है।
किया था।
हाँ, भगवत गीता एक्चुअली में आप तब समझा, कोई कोई भक्त भगवत गीता समझा हुआ है, कैसे पता चलेगा, तब माना जाएगा जब वो परफेक्ट तरीके से, विदाउट यूजिंग यूजिंग हिज माइंड, इंटेलिजेंस and his own conceptions, he fully agrees to abide by the instructions of a spiritual master. जब आध्यात्मिक गुरु के जो वचन है उसको स्वीकार कर लेता है और उसको पालन करने के लिए अपने आप को समर्पित कर देता है कृष्ण की सेवा में, बिना अपना खुद का मन बुद्धि और अपने खुद की विचारधारा का इस्तेमाल किए हुए। एट दैट टाइम वन इज कंसिडर्ड टू हैव अंडरस्टूड इंटायर भगवत गीता, जैसे अर्जुन
तभी।
ने किया, करिष्ये वचनम तव।
बट मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है मैं चास्टाइज तो मतलब भगवत
हाँ,
गीता के बारे में जानने से पहले से ही हो रहा हूँ।
हाँ। वो तो हम
इसका क्या
पहले से
कारण?
चेष्टा है।
हाँ।
इसका कारण है हम अच्छे से नहीं सुन रहे हैं, अच्छे से ध्यान से सुन नहीं रहे हैं, समझ नहीं रहे हैं। और अगर समझ रहे हैं तो हम उसको अप्लाई नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। लेकिन धीरे धीरे, इट्स अ ग्रेजुअल प्रोसेस। वी कैन नॉट बिकम फुली सरेंडर्ड ओवरनाइट, इट टेक्स टाइम, बट वी शुड एटलीस्ट स्टेप तो लेना चाहिए, एक आगे बढ़ना चाहिए। ठीक है, ओके, समय हो गया है।
मुझे